In today's show, we look ahead to Thursday in the NBA. Who's in, who's out, who we can stream in. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We're here ready for Thursday, just looking ahead to what's happening, how we can stream in, how we can plan out the rest of our week. There are just 4 games on. Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right, the first game involves the New York Knicks. Also involves your Orlando Magic. The Knicks are coming in on a back-to-back. They play the Wednesday-Thursday back-to-back. This is the final Knicks game for the week. So be prepared to drop. If you are in a league that goes past this week, you can keep Randall and keep Brunson. Everyone else, Robinson, Hartenstein, Quickly, Barrett, for some reason Grimes, you can all move on after Thursday. So they play, so you'll notice, again, change a little bit of the subheaders here because we're moving into the end of week 22, start of week 23. They play the Knicks on Thursday, and then they've got 4 games next week. So the value does return for the Knicks players, but can you win through the week with 3 zeros at the end of the week? That's the decision you have to make. The Magic play Thursday, Sunday this week, and they have 3 games next week. So a little bit light for the Magic players, but they've still got 2 more games this week on the Thursday, Sunday. But that is a difference compared to the bunch of teams that play 3 more games rest of this week. On the Magic, we do want to watch Cole Anthony because he has been playing really well. We know that Jalen Suggs is out, so that is going to boost Anthony's value. He goes from like a 24-minute-a-night guy to a 30-minute-a-night player. And we haven't had one for a while, but there is a distinct chance that we get a 9-point game from Cole Anthony on 12 shots. That is a distinct chance. But the volume, as somebody, a wise fat bastard in Australia would say, the value is in the volume. So if he plays 30 minutes, if he does have a stinking shooting night on 25%, instead of maybe having 7 points, he might get 11 points. And he might get 6 assists instead of the 4 assists he would get in 23 minutes. So it's a different sort of volume here. It's not a games played volume, it's a minutes volume that boosts the floor of Cole Anthony. I also want to watch, and this is for deeper formats, Caleb Houston. Yes, I do want to watch Caleb Houston because this man has taken Bol spot in the rotation. Houston has now played 16, 14, and 14 minutes the last 3 games. So this matters nothing for 12-team leagues. But it does start to matter for 16-team leagues, maybe into 14-teamers. He has been one of the worst fantasy producers per minute this season, but he is playing. And getting guys who are playing in deeper leagues is important. And you may not have noticed that they took Bol out of the rotation and replaced him with Caleb Houston. They also added Kevon Harris into that rotation, who is likely the Suggs replacement, but he's still in there too. And you just need to pay a little bit of attention there because if something happens and Wagner gets hurt at any point, maybe Houston does move into 12-team streaming territory. And we just want to get a little bit of a head start on watching that to see where it ends up. Never hurts to get ahead of the curve on stuff. Cavs and Nets. Ahead of the curve doesn't mean add him in 12-team leagues, obviously. It's just having it in your head, understanding who's there and who's sort of in the coach's favor, who's pushing into things. So that if we get an injury or a Wagner absence or something like that, we go, it might be Houston that jumps in here. It might be Houston. Just that's something to think about. Cavs Nets. The Cavs have 2 more games Thursday, Sunday. They've got 3 next week, so they're a little light on as well. Whereas the Nets have a great schedule this week. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, the best. 3 quality games in 4 days. They're the only team that plays the 3 games and misses the 10-game Friday. They only have 3 games next week, so it's not particularly strong. Obviously, a 4-game week next week would be better. What do we need to see in terms of injuries? Well, Ben Simmons is out. Do not expect him to play this season. I think he's done. We don't know that, but I think he is done. On the Cavs side of things, we want to watch Dracaris Levert. Who is somehow doubling his steal rate and shooting like 10, 12 percentage points better from the field and shooting better from the line and shooting better from 3. Everything is going his way and his minutes are up. I just really worried that it is going to nosedive pretty quickly. And that is the worry. But we roll with him. He's playing really well, and they're giving him minutes. But there is going to be a 4-point game coming up where he doesn't get a steal and he shoots 1 of 7 and goes 1 of 3 from the line. You go, what am I doing with this bloke? Like, that is a huge, it's not even a huge possibility, it is a massive likelihood. Whether it's this game or not, I don't know. But we roll with LeVert. And then the other one to watch is the Discman, Cedi Osman, because he is in the rotation, even with Jarrett Allen back. Played 20-plus minutes last game. Now, if there's a more untrustworthy player in the NBA, I've yet to find him. Osman could be that guy. 28 minutes, 0 minutes. 20 points, 2 points. He's all over the shop. And Bickerstaff's trust in him is all over the shop. But with a fully healthy team, him playing 20-plus minutes deserves a bit of our attention. It's only going to be for deeper leagues, and he played more minutes than Okoro and basically took Lamar Stevens out of the rotation. That doesn't mean it sticks, but we watch it because it does become important for deeper formats. For the Nets, this is the one that we want to pay attention to, and it's Day'Ron Sharpe. Are we adding Day'Ron Sharpe? Well, maybe. We'll talk a little bit later about that. But Sharpe played 20 minutes last game and was amazing. He's actually a top 100 player over the last week per game, despite averaging 14 minutes a night in those games. Now, that came because he had 32 usage last game, but he is a very good rebounder who can be a field goal guy who doesn't hurt your free throws and can block some shots, and he hit a 3. And that sort of player, if the Nets are truly going to be sort of keeping Claxton down around 29 minutes, and Sharpe is going to get that backup role, which I'd be very surprised if they went away from him after the way he played last game, that's actually really useful. Their schedule leans into it, 3 games, 4 nights, all quality games. What can Sharpe bring us? Look, expect 50% less production than last game from Sharpe. That still might be enough to matter with volume. The value, my friends, is in the volume. So if I could sing like Bob Dylan, I might. Royce O'Neal, the other one, the Basmati man, is playing better than Dorian Finney-Smith. He's still very up and down in terms of shooting percentages, but he is an option for us here. The schedule works in his favor, and he is getting these minutes. I'm not going to trust Seth Curry particularly, or Joe Harris, or DNP legend Cam Thomas. I'm not going to trust those guys. I'm going to trust a little bit more into Royce O'Neal. I think that's probably as the thunder starts rolling in here as I'm talking Cam Thomas. Maybe that's the reason. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Basketball GM. We are all aspiring NBA GMs, whether in our real life or in fake life. We love doing it. We love messing with teams and trading, some of us too much. We love making moves, and this is where you can fill your fantasy, and that is Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. You hire the coaches. You hire the assistants. You trade players. You train players. You make draft picks. You navigate all of the minutiae of a basketball season to get your team into the playoffs and through to the finals. It is a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Pro Basketball GM is free to play. You can play offline, so you can play whenever and wherever you want. Locked On Fantasy Basketball listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. What better way to while away your time than trying to build a juggernaut basketball team? That's what you do on Ultimate Pro Basketball GM. So to download the game, go to probasketballgm.com, scan the code, it's on your screen, or look it up on the app stores. That's probasketballgm.com. Ultimate Basketball GM, start your dynasty today. The Battle of the Hornets. The Hornets and the Pelicans is the next game in New Orleans. The Hornets have 3 more games this week, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Not as good as the Nets schedule, but still pretty strong. The Pelicans, they have 2 more games, Thursday and Saturday. The Hornets have 3 games next week. The Pelicans have 4 games next week. So they play the same amount of games over the next 10 days. The Hornets are a little bit better for this week. The Pelicans are better for next week. So who's out? We've got Cody Martin out for the Hornets. Is he ever coming back? I don't know. We don't know about Mark Williams, but I'm going to go ahead and say that he's not playing.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Because this team has the shittest injury reporting in the NBA. They've taken over from Memphis. At least you're good at something, Charlotte. You're good at being bad. We don't know if Mark's going to play. We don't have an update on Mark. Hopefully we get one soon. I imagine he'll be ruled out, but I don't know. On the Pelican side of things, we got some news on Zion Williamson.
I'm the biggest bird. I'm the biggest bird.
It sounds like he's done for the regular season, really. He's not coming back in March. We know that much. So his regular season is over. Jose Alvarado probably going to be the same. Not going to play in the regular season either. So we understand that what we've got here for the Pelicans is what we've got. On the Hornet side of things, the wood slanger, Dennis Smith Jr. Minutes are up for Smith at the moment. 37, 32, 32, 26 the last 4 games. The 26 is a little bit annoying. but with the potential of a limited situation for Gordon Hayward at some point, of Oubre maybe sitting or Rozier being reduced, Smith will get good minutes here. They play 3 games in 4 nights, and if you can withstand the occasional 30% shooting night, which actually might be a good night for Smith, you might get 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game over 3 games in 4 nights, which is bloody great. So he's absolutely, you have to be able to deal with disgusting shooting. But I feel like we lock him in at minimum 25 minutes here for Smitty. Minimum. And 31-minute upside if they decide to limit some players, which makes him very interesting. I also want to watch PJ Washington Jr. because his minutes have been strong. I talked about Chetty Osman being one of the most unreliable players in the NBA. This bloke's got to be up there, surely. Like, I know that... actually, he did get this. Now that Jay Crowder's back, he's sort of taken it off him. But he got this, didn't he?
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Because that's what he is. The percentages are whack. They're all over the place. He doesn't ever play center, which is the position that he does best for fantasy. He plays a couple of minutes there. But we want to see, put together something, my guy. He's a restricted free agent. Where is his future? Is he actually a starter in the NBA? I don't know that he is. But interesting to see what they do with him. On the Pelicans side of things, the New Orleans Pelicans, Jonas Valanciunas, the big man.
Jonas Valanciunas.
If you were out here predicting to me that Valanciunas would go 34, 33, 28 minutes over the last 3 games, I'm sorry to tell you, you're a liar. Because his games before that were 7, 16, 21, and 16. And then Willie Green just went, all right, something different. Big minutes coming. So are we expecting big minutes moving forward? What I always said with Valanciunas is that playing next to Zion hurts him. That's why I hated his value this season. But without Zion, his minutes should push up. And then it just didn't happen for a bit of time. But now Willie Green's gone, maybe we need offense. So we're getting more out of Valanciunas here. And that's why I was always down on Larry Nance when Zion went out. Because Zion and Nance work together. Nance is not as useful when Zion's not there. And we're finally seeing that sort of stuff play out in a more extreme way. So I do think we're going to get pretty big minutes here from Valanciunas and solid production. As for Josh Richardson's minutes, I don't know. 17, 26, 17, 25. Well, there's one thing, it's consistently inconsistent. That would mean we're prepping for 17 minutes in this game. I don't know that that's realistic. 25 minutes of Josh Richardson's useful. That's 12 teams streamable. Get 1 to 2 steals, get 10 points, get 4 rebounds and 3 assists. That's okay. But I don't know that we're going to get it. And you shouldn't have confidence that you know that we're going to get it either. The last game of the day is the Hornets. No, it's not. It was the Hornets. It's the Thunder and the Clippers. The Thunder have 3 more games this week. Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Same as the Hornets. They also play 4 games next week. So they've got an absolutely ball-bursting schedule. The Clippers, not so good. Thursday, Saturday, 2 games this week. 4 next week. So that's not bad. They also have a back-to-back at the end of next week, which is going to be important. The Thunder, though, as you'll notice, have a Thursday, Friday back-to-back here. And we got the comment from Mark Dagnott that maybe Shea might play the back-to-back. We don't know that yet. We cross our fingers. He might play the back-to-back. That'll be very interesting. They're at 500, the Thunder. Good for them. For the Clippers, we know that Norman Powell is out, and we know that Paul George is done. For the regular season, he won't return to the regular season. I don't care that Woj said 2 to 3 weeks. It's just not happening. He's not playing in the regular season. You can write him off. Powell is still probably a week away, is my guess. BJ Boston is questionable. I think Boston, if he gets healthy, would play a couple of games in April. I think he might be a good player, but it doesn't really matter here. He's a long way behind guys like Covington and Coffey, who aren't even playing at the moment either. On the Thunder side of things, we do want to watch Isaiah Joe because he gets minutes. He gets 20 minutes. He's had 20 minutes a game for 6 consecutive games. He started one of those games. He'll probably start if Shea sits the game against the Lakers. But even so, 25 a night, 12 points, 3 triples is about what you can expect. And with 3 more games this week, there's a chance he gets 43s. That'd be awesome. There's a chance he gets 40 points. There's a chance he gets 8 triples across those 3 games. Maybe 10 triples across the 3 games. Maybe 4 steals. That's pretty good for a waiver wire ad, even though he's not that exciting. The other guy, I think he's a pretty good player. The other one we need to watch, and I got his nickname wrong yesterday. Apparently I had given him a nickname last season, but I forgot. The Incantation, Olivier Sarr.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Sarr played 19 minutes last game. He was also a DNP prior to that. This is a guy, if we remember, put up very interesting fantasy numbers last season. And if he can get backup minutes behind Pig Williams, Well, deeper leagues will want to pay attention. Last game, Pig Williams played 11. He got into foul trouble. I don't think for a second that the incantation is starting over the Pig. But if you can get a regular 12 to 13 minutes, your deeper leagues will want to pay attention. And then if something happens, he's just a name we have to keep on our radar. For the Clippers, no Paul George. It's going to be either Eric Gordon, probably who starts, or Terrence Mann. But it doesn't really matter to me. As I said on the waiver wire show earlier today, Gordon's already playing 28 a night. So he's replacing George might go from 28 to 31. That's not a big deal. Terrence Mann going from 18 minutes to 29 is a big deal. That is a big jump in value. Are either of them must-roster 12-team league guys? I don't think so. But they are options that we can try. I think Mann is a more well-rounded player than Gordon. He might not score as much, but he can get more rebounds and assists and steals, and that might have use to you, but Gordon's more likely to pick up some of the scoring slack. The other guy is Marcus Morris, who they're going to give more shots to. It's going to make disgusting offense, but they are going to give more shots to, and of course, Russell Westbrook's going to get more usage and more playing time as well. But I really want to see the Mann and Gordon situation, who starts, but who gets that big minutes increase, or do they play very similar minutes, which is sort of the way that I think it's going to go there for the Clippers. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use, and you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers and even three-pointers drained. Let's go have a look. There's some star player props. Joel Embiid versus the Bulls. Joel Embiid points over 34.5. That is a very big number. But we know that Joel Embiid's scoring a lot. You can look at that. Joel Embiid rebounds against the Bulls. Over 10.5. That's low. Why is that so low? What do we expect? That's very low. I think Embiid, so they're saying he just squeaks a double-double? Really interesting. Plus, FanDuel also lets you combine all of your bets into a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Let's look at some streaming options replacements on Thursday, injury replacements. At the moment, the only guy that we don't know really the status of. Now, more stuff will occur closer to game time, but Mark Williams is questionable because he just hasn't played. That's all we know. Like, everyone else is either ruled out or that's it. We don't have any other real questionable tags. BJ Boston, but who cares? He's not going to play anyway. So if Williams is out, it's obviously Big Dick Nick, and then deeper leagues look at Kai Jones as the replacement there. But that's good. It's only that one that we need to worry about. The only two teams with a Thursday-Friday back-to-back are the Thunder and the Hornets. We talked about the Nets having the good schedule, but they don't have the Thursday-Friday back-to-back. Remembering, Friday has 10 games on. In terms of just streaming blokes in for Thursday with only 4 games on, we've got some options though. Terrence Mann. Yes. Eric Gordon's on the list. Big Dick Nick's there. Josh Richardson. Isaiah Hartenstein in his apparent 20 minutes a night. Dennis Smith Jr., the Woodslinger. Isaiah Joe. And Day'Ron Sharpe, maybe. I'm going to have Day'Ron Sharpe on a few of these lists, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be like, oh, maybe. Because I just don't know. But if he plays 18 a night, I'm very interested to see what he can bring. For deeper leagues, these guys are all available in 90% plus of leagues. Nico Batum, he probably gets a boost with George out as well. And he might get to 25 minutes. Gaz Harris, it was great the last time we saw him. We don't trust that, but 2 threes and a steal, 10, 12 points. Yeah, why not? Of course. Rick Rubio, starting to get some assists up. Isaac Okoro, yeah, that's just real deep stuff. Seth Curry. Lindy Waters is playing minutes for the Thunder. And we've got a back-to-back Friday. Maybe if Shea sits, he gets a little bit of a boost. He can get red hot as well, Lindy. But much like Isaiah Joe, less than Joe, but he can get on. Pig Williams is in that mix as well for deeper leagues, and Najee Marshall as well. Might as well throw the incantation on there, but that is for 20-team leagues for Olivier Sarr. Top guys to add for points leagues. These guys are all available in 40% plus of leagues. We're looking at Cole Anthony, Midwest Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort.
No, my son is also named Bort.
Terrence Mann, Karis LeVert, Eric Gordon, the Woodslinger Dennis Smith, Nick Richards, and Marcus Morris Sr. Let's look at the next 4 nights, but let's look at the low-volume games. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be dominated by Nets players here, but who gets the value here? Cole Anthony's 2 games, 2 low-volume games. He's really useful. That's why we'd really like him for the rest of the week. And then we've got Day'Ron Sharpe. I'll run burgeting my teleprompter, which I don't have. Maybe Day'Ron Sharpe? I don't know. Royce O'Neal, 3 games? Yes. Terrence Mann with 2. Big Dick Nick with 2. Dorian Finney-Smith with 3, Karis LeVert with 2, and maybe even Seth Curry with 3. But that's almost a bigger question mark to me than Day'Ron Sharpe, because they might give it to Curry, they might give it to Harris, they might give it to Thomas. They might sit these Nets blokes on the back-to-back on the weekend. I don't know. That is distinctly possible as well. Imagine they sit Claxton and Big Dick Day'Ron. That's not the right word. Imagine if old Sharpie plays 30 a night. Woo, yeah. All right, let's look at the next 4 nights in general, including the 10-game day on Friday. Richards has got 3 games. Love that. Dennis Smith has got 3. Isaiah Joe has got 3. Cole Anthony with 2 games. Trendon Watford with 2, with our expectation that Simons and Grant do not play. So there's some value there in Watford. Lou Dort with 3. Austin Reeves with 2. And Danny Gafford with 2, with the expectation that Kuzma doesn't play the rest of the week as well. And, of course, Beal is out in today's game for the Wizards as well. And let's do some chunk work. For the next 4 nights, 3 and 4, there are 3 teams playing at Oklahoma City, Brooklyn, and Charlotte. There is no team playing a 4-game in 5-night stretch, but there are 3 teams playing 4 games in the next 6 nights. It's the Pelicans, it's the Thunder, and the Hornets. And for the first time in a while, we've got a team playing 5 games in 7 nights, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. So maybe there's a little bit of a risk there of Shea sitting one of those games. 5 games in 7 is a big, big load to take on.
Giggity.
And that might be just a little bit too much for Shea, and maybe some other players have to sit. Just be aware of that. 5 in 7 coming up for the Thunder. So, of course, they've got 5 in 7, so that means they've got 5 games in 8 nights as well, along with the Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks have 5 games in 8 nights also. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. If you're on YouTube, I think you know what to do. You thumb it up and you leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.